There were so many reasons I gave myself why I don't qualify to write a book, so I put it on the back burner. I was like, no, I'm not writing a book. That's not for me. So the mindset is where the revolution begins. And it begins with you as an individual.
Today, I have a special guest and a special word of welcome to my guest today, Miss Nicky Verd. Welcome. So good to have you here at the University of Johannesburg. Ladies and gentlemen, Nicky is a leading thinker on driving innovation through personal disruption and a human-centric digital transformation consultant focused on people and culture. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to discuss a book that Nicky wrote, which has the title, Disrupt or Be Disrupted. Disrupt yourself or be disrupted. Now I'm changing the title, beg your pardon. It doesn't end there, ladies and gentlemen. Escape conformity, reinvent your thinking and thrive in an era of emerging technologies and economic anxiety. Here at UJ, we are well known for the leading role that we play in the fourth industrial revolution, the leading work that we are doing when it comes to artificial intelligence. So this book is quite relevant, for UJ and for the time we are living in. I would like to now give a chance to address us, and then later on we can engage with Nicky. Nicky, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Thanks, colleagues.
Right. Thank you so much, Visi. And hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Oh, we got a full house here. Hello. Good afternoon. Okay, I'm not getting you. Hello. That's more like it. So yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much, Visi, for bringing me here. And yeah, my name is Nicky Verd. I am the author of the book that Visi is just sharing. And my journey is quite an interesting one. Every time I tell the story, I still kind of pinch myself like, oh, did that really happen? So yes, as Visi said, my journey or my story, I was still in the corporate world, back in 2016, 2017. Towards the end of 2016, one day I went to work and my boss called me in for what I thought was a meeting to update him on what has been happening. By the end of that meeting, I was jobless. He told me, sorry, Nicky, some restructuring has been going on and we've been wondering how to tell you, but there's no better way than to let you know we have to let you go. And that was basically it. And, I stood there looking at him. He just unleashed this, I don't know how to put it on me, and he said it as if it's nothing, But anyway, that was it. The weeks and the months that followed, to say that was some of the darkest moments of my life would be an understatement, because I did not see retrenchment coming. My boss used to tell me stories 5 years ahead, the plans we were going to do, things that were going to happen within the company. And one day, just called me in like that, say, sorry, things are changing and we have to let you go. So as time went on, I was, like I mentioned, I was very devastated. And I actually had a couple of people in mind I thought deserved to have been retrenched. Like, hey, you've been here for 15 years. You've been here for 10 years, 5 years. I'm just coming in. Why me, I was that entitled, but that was the pain talking. But I had those thoughts in my mind, I had a few people I knew. These were the people to have been retrenched. But nonetheless, as time went on, my pain, my frustration translated into some sort of curiosity. I always say I always narrate it this way. When you buy a car, you start seeing that particular mark of car everywhere. Who has noticed that? Right? So for me, because I had been retrenched, news about retrenchment seemed to have been the thing that was on the news all the time. If I opened the TV, oh my God, there's someone being retrenched, or there's a company retrenching people. Radio, it was the same thing. Even passing where they're selling newsletter, the topic that will catch my attention, it's about one or two companies, retrenching people. But those were things I didn't pay attention to prior to that, but that was now what my attention was. And because of that, I got very curious. I was like, so clearly this did not just happen to me, or this is not just happening to me. And because of that, I got very curious, and I was asking myself, how do organizations continue to thrive when they let go so many people? I remember one particular incident where I think it was a mining company that they let go like I think 3,000 to 5,000 employees, and that blew my mind. I'm like, how is this even possible? So thank God for Google, right? I threw myself on Google and I literally typed how organizations continue to thrive when they let go so many people. I just wanted to satisfy my curiosity and perhaps understood, no, how is my boss coping without me? I didn't think anything would come of that. But nonetheless, I typed in that question and it just sent me down this rabbit hole. For the first time, I came across concepts like artificial intelligence, software replacing people at work, automation, robotics. Those were things that I had no clue what they were. Like, initially, it sounded like Chinese language to me, believe me. At the beginning of 2016, the fourth industrial revolution was still starting. Many people were not paying attention to that. I was one of those. I've never been paying attention to technology as a whole. So the technology that I knew at the time was to make calls on my phone, my laptop at work, send emails, respond to emails. I was a PA. I was a personal assistant to a doctor at Netcare. So anyway, so that was all I knew about technology. And I'm here on the internet reading about artificial intelligence. What is this? So there's some intelligence called artificial. That was literally the first time I came across artificial intelligence. Like, this is interesting. I had no clue. And so because I had so much time in my hands, I was writing about it on social media. And as people would see something and respond, a lot of people started responding to what I was writing. I'm like, oh, Nicky, great, this is really interesting. And people were asking me questions as though I was an expert in this whole thing. I'm like, you guys have no clue. I'm as clueless as you guys. I have no idea what this is. But nonetheless, I had time in my hands, and writing became a way of escape for me. With the pain, the frustration, the fear, what does the future hold for me? What next for me? All of that, I just buried myself in writing, and I sort of escaped that pain I was feeling at the time, just in a small way, escape the pain. So I kept writing, and at some point, people were asking me so many questions about this, and I would go back and research. The question, I would go back and research. I just became very fascinated with the world of technology, and I evolved from there to writing about to writing articles. Instead of just writing Facebook posts, I started a blog, and I was blogging, like just writing articles about it. Honestly, I had no clue what this would become of, but I just felt like, okay, I think people are interested with this. And so at some point, I thought to myself, maybe someone should write a book about this. But in a million years, I didn't think that someone would be me, because I thought you have to be really smart to write a book, right? And I told myself, I don't have a university degree, number one. I am not from a tech background, number two. I felt like my English was so broken, you have to pick the pieces and put them together to understand what I'm saying, number three. There were so many reasons I gave myself why I don't qualify to write a book, so I put it on the back burner. I was like, no, I'm not writing a book, that's not for me. And the idea kept coming, and I remember going to your friend and asking him, like, hey, do you think I can write a book? He looked at me like, what, you can do anything? So it started from there, and it gave me confidence to start writing the book. And I thought, what better title than Disrupt Yourself or Be Disrupted? Because I was here minding my business, and my boss disrupted my life. I did not see it coming. So I wanted to bring the conversation to like this, where we can have the conversations. Ask yourself, can I be replaced by software? It's a question people don't want to ask themselves, right? How relevant are you? Okay, for students sitting in the room, what I am currently studying in school, by the time I finish, will it be relevant for the marketplace? Those are the questions I wanted to drive, with my book and with my story. And I'm glad that the world received, the book the way it did, and put me on this spotlight on me and around disruption and digital transformation. But the whole essence of it is for you as an individual. We know how to disrupt the government. We know how to disrupt systems. We know how to disrupt UJ. We know how to complain. But the essence of the book is, this is about you. This is you. Look within yourself and ask yourself, how relevant are you for the world in which we're living? How much do you know about artificial intelligence? When I speak, sometimes people look at me and like, but Nicky, this is so overwhelming. I'm like, listen, if I can do this, Anybody can do this. Because I'm not coming from the tech background, I do not have a lot of people. Sometimes I speak even to professors about this. Like one time when I was invited in Kenya to speak to university professors about the fourth industrial revolution and the impact it's having, right? So I tell people, if I can do this, anybody can do this because I don't come from that background. And that time where the conversations around technology was something exclusive for IT guys, that era is over. Now, each and every one of us, we need to understand at least the basics of technology, right? So that you can survive. Because if you don't understand the basics, because sometimes people ask me, but Nikki, this is overwhelming, where do I start? I'm like, start where you are. What are you studying? Start researching within that industry, within that profession. How is technology impacting that particular profession? Are you in agriculture? Are you in finance? Are you in healthcare? Just focus on that. How is technology impacting healthcare? What are the new skills I need to be able to stay relevant in a healthcare industry, or in agriculture industry, or in mining, or whatever your aim is in the future? Is it marketing? Ask yourself, how is technology disrupting marketing? You know, these are the questions they ask, because when people hear about it, like, this is so overwhelming, this is so scary. No, just focus within yourself, within your industry, within your profession. How are things changing? What do you need to stay relevant? You know, that time where, you know, job adverts were advertised with something like computer knowledge is needed as a requirement, almost like a minor requirement, right? That time is over. Your computer knowledge now, for people whose computer knowledge is Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, you are outdated. If that is your computer knowledge, you are outdated. Right now, I had a talk last week where I was telling people, communication is moving beyond humans. It's not just your ability to communicate with another human being. You now need to learn how to communicate with AI systems. Because for many of us sitting here, let's take customer service, for example. If you have a problem with a particular organization today and you want to go through their customer service, many of the conversations you will have will be through a chatbot, not an actual human being. So you need to learn how to have these conversations with these chatbots. Let's take ChatGPT, for example. How many of us know how to prompt properly? How many of us in the room have taken a free course on prompting? This is an actual question. Oh my God, no one. Okay, this is interesting. VC.
We want you to feel important. So I'm sure there are many who did it. Or those that are here, I didn't take the course, right. And I made a note. I'm sure those that came here, if they didn't do it, those that did it are still outside. No, on a serious note, it's really interesting that in this auditorium, not a single one has done that. Yeah. But it's also an opportunity to go out there and be, you know, curious about it.
So it is important, because if you're just focused on what you are studying and to come out with a certificate, everything you're studying here right now, someone out there can get the same information out there with the right prompt from any AI system. So nothing distinguishes you. The only difference is that you come out with a certificate. The other one has a knowledge, but really there's no certificate. But then again, we are slowly entering an era where the world is moving from a degree-based economy to a skill-based economy. So if a certificate is all you're bringing to the table, you need to work much harder to bring something else to the table. And again, your ability to communicate with artificial intelligence system, as we're slowly also moving out of the fourth industrial revolution into what is called the fifth industrial revolution, which is a collaboration of humans and technology, humans and artificial intelligence. So there is no way you can escape this. It's not even asking your opinion, like, do you want to learn about technology? It's not even asking your opinion. You have to learn how to collaborate with AI, because if you don't, you are going to be left behind. VC mentioned earlier about the fear of losing jobs and how technology is going to disrupt the world of work. That's happening, and is going to escalate even as more AI systems are being built and introduced into the world, right? So one of the things I tell people, the people that AI will replace are people who are not thinking outside the box. AI is not going to replace thinkers. AI is not going to replace curious people. AI is not going to replace continuous learners. AI is not going to replace people who know how to make things happen. Because these people know how to partner with AI and build systems that can solve some of the problems within their own community or within their organization. They know how to partner with AI to 10x their productivity. They know how to partner with AI to expand their human potential. You know, I'm very passionate about igniting human potential in the age of disruption or in the age of artificial intelligence. And one thing I tell people, don't focus on AI. A lot of people are focusing on AI in the wrong way. Because AI potential is different, human potential is different. Once you focus on enhancing your human potential, then you are going to stay relevant for the world in which you are living today, because humanity, I think for the first time in human history, we have an opportunity to be human again. Because there's nothing in terms of technical skills that you can do in this room that an AI system cannot do it. So we have an opportunity to be human again. So that when people come in contact with you and they leave the room, they feel like, oh, I actually had an encounter with an actual human being. So many people are spending time, you know, on their screens. It could be cell phone, computers, that there is so little human interaction, especially with the hybrid work environments that are happening now. So humanity is something that is needed. That's why VC mentioned earlier, I'm very passionate about the human-centric digital transformation. And that calls, again, to you as a human being. Do you have human skills that will carry you through this transitioning that the world is going through? Do you have human skills? I was listening to something the other day, and the speaker said something that I thought was really profound. She said, she was talking about her 16-year-old. She said she cannot have the ability to pick a phone call or to pick her phone and call a friend. What the Gen Zs are doing is texting, meaning they're losing out on communication skills. And they're not just texting, they have taken English language and destroyed it completely. When you receive a text from a Gen Z, I need it decoded before I can even understand what is it that they are saying, right? So these are skills that are going to be valuable in future, but the new generation does not understand how to have a conversation with an actual human being. Something as simple as pick a phone call and call someone. No, we rather text. Ask yourself, how often do you text? How often do you call? Because calling and having to talk to someone, it actually is uncomfortable, I know, but it's building your skills. You know, your interpersonal skills, your human skills that will be needed for the workplace in future. So if people are unable to have conversations face-to-face and they would rather just text each other to death, you know, then we know that we have a problem, you know. VC mentioned earlier about the victim mindset or entitlement. A lot of people, you know, like to point fingers and complain about the government or complain about their parents or complain about their friends, and they are forever the victim, you know. If this was like this, then I would be like this. If this was not like this, then I would not be like this. So what essentially a victim is communicating is that I have no power, I have no control. My life can only change if something on the outside changes. That is a predicament in which a victim puts themselves. For my life to change, there needs to be a change in the government, or we need to put in a different politician. For my life to change, I don't know, you could say your parents need to do 1, 2, 3, or the school need to do 1, 2, 3. So in that way, you are forever helpless because you have put yourself in a situation where you cannot do anything. Someone has to do something for your life to move ahead. Those type of people, I also refer to them as wheelbarrow type of people. Who knows what a wheelbarrow is? Right, we know, right? A wheelbarrow, right? Once you push a wheelbarrow and leave it here, you can travel, you come back, you find it where you left it, right? You push it again, you leave it there. You go somewhere else, come back, you find it where you left it. So that is how people with a victim mindset, wheelbarrow mindset, that is how they operate. They feel like you constantly have to push them. Someone else has to give them something to do before they can do it. They don't know how to take initiative. They don't know, for example, how to go online and search for solutions. With the information that we have at our fingertips, they still entirely depend on their professors, on their teachers, on what the university can offer. And if the solution they are looking for is not part of the university curriculum, then they are stuck. So don't be a wheelbarrow. The people that AI will replace will be wheelbarrows, all right? Because AI is moving so fast at an exponential rate, perhaps even a quantum leap that we're seeing. Let's just look from when OpenAI released their chatbot, ChatGPT. That was in November of 2022. We're in August, right? Is it August? Oh, gosh. I can't even remember what month we're in. So, anyway, we are in August. That's like 8 months, 9 months, 10 months. Math is leaving the room, don't worry. But here's the point I'm making. How the world has changed in just 10 months, just with the release of one artificial intelligence software. How much the world has changed in only 10 months. And then ask yourself, how much have you yourself changed in the last 10 months, in the last 1 year? What have you done differently from what you would normally do? How are you responding to the disruption? How are you responding to the AI disruption? Many people are responding only by complaining. They are not looking. One of the things I mentioned in the book, VC, is that we cannot fight technology. We cannot fight this revolution. We cannot fight this disruption. What you can do is to ask yourself, how can I become part of the revolution? And the people who ask themselves that question, that is why I believe curiosity should be one of the top skills of the future. Because personally, had it been I did not become curious as to how organizations continue to thrive when they let go so many people, I probably would not even be sitting here and talking to you people. My life would probably have taken a completely different path. But because I got really curious and throw myself, to the belly of the internet, so to say, I was able to find answers that many people were not looking for. I was able to solve my own problem, so to say, and I can now sell the solution, right? So this is what it means to be part of the revolution. When things are happening out there, don't just complain. Ask yourself, how can I partner with this? How can these enhance my potential? Because those who understand the power of human potential and their partnership with artificial intelligence, those are the people that are going to win. The mindset is where the revolution begins. We can talk in this room till tomorrow. If nothing clicks inside of your mind, it was completely a waste of time. So the mindset is where the revolution begins. And it begins with you as an individual. Don't wait for government. A lot of people are waiting for government, right? And I remember I always say this. Many people wait for their solutions to come from the government. But when they want certain things, they go on the internet and get it themselves. For example, most of the Amapiano dance moves, a lot of you in this room can dance them. Am I right? Okay, you don't want to answer, but we know, right? You go on the internet and you learn those dance moves. When a new song comes out, you're there. You learn those dance moves. Okay, for us ladies, hello, fashion. We check it online. Draw your eyebrows on fleek. We check it online. I'm lookable, right? I'm also part of that, okay? I also check that online. But then, it is not the government sponsoring you to go learn fashion online. It is not the government sponsoring you to go learn dancing skills online. There are other skills I don't want to mention that we are all learning online, It's not the government sponsoring that. When you want it, you go online and you learn it yourself. But when it comes to actually investing in your future and learning actual skills that can save you and save your community and perhaps save the whole country, you're waiting for the government to sponsor you. That is not you disrupting yourself. That's you waiting to disrupt the government. And we know there's a lot of red tape when it comes to disrupting the government and when it comes to disrupting systems. But with you, you can remove your own red tape whenever you want and disrupt. Whatever you're familiar with, that you've been practicing for so long and nothing is changing, you can decide and say, okay, I've come to a point where I feel enough is enough and I need to do something differently. That is you disrupting yourself. You know, for some people sitting in the room, you know that what you're studying is really not what you should be studying. Maybe you're like VC, who has this passion for DJing, but you're like, but well, I need the degree, you know? Let me just have it. Why not go do what you're passionate about, you know? Because again, we are entering an era where degrees is not everything. In the past, it was. But right now, the skills you can bring to the table is what is going to set you apart. Your ability to partner with artificial intelligence is what is going to set you apart. There are many people in the world of work today, especially those within the software engineers or software developers and things like that. They didn't go to any university. They self-taught themselves everything it had to do with software development. Many graphic designers out there, they didn't go to any school for that. Many website developers out there, they didn't go to any school for that. They learned those skills on their own. And some of them have degrees as well, but they learn those skills on their own. I can speak about technology and the impact it has on the world of work. I did not learn that in any school. I throw myself on the internet and I continuously learn about the trends and what is happening in the world of work. How is this impacting the world of work? How is this changing people? How do I need to also upskill myself to stay relevant? When COVID-19 happened, everyone was disrupted. Everyone had to evolve, had to ask hard questions to myself. Our parents left school with certificates and they were guaranteed to have a job. But that is not our story today. That is not the story for many of the young people sitting in the room today. Yes, you're going to leave with a university degree, but you're going to face the world where you need to start from zero. That is, at least that's how it's going to feel. So one of the key things that I would like to leave you people with is about your personal brand. And when I talk about this in terms to students or to employees, they look at me like, why should I care about that? Because they think that personal branding is something for online influencers, right? You think of maybe TikTok dancers or the big influencers that are doing big things, you know. But if you have a Facebook account, if you have a Twitter account, if you have an Instagram account, if you're on social media, you have a personal brand. Whether you are intentional about it or not, you have a personal brand. And this is my personal opinion. The future of resumes is going to be personal branding. It's not just going to be you sending a piece of paper with a list of things that you cannot account for to any organization and expecting that they can take your word for it. Because the world is being so disrupted, there is no organization today that is going to employ anybody without checking them out on social media first. Many of us are sitting here, we go on dates. Do you go on date with anybody without first checking them out on social media? You don't. That's the world in which we are living today. You have to know who this person is. You have to check their history. Scroll all the way back 2 years ago. Who was this person? What was he up to? That is what organizations are doing, in case you don't know. So the future of CVs and resumes is going to be personal brand. There are people that looked great on CV until the company did their homework and realized, nope, we don't want this person in our organization. But the piece of paper they sent through, they were perfect on it until they were checked on social media. So the question to you is, what kind of reputation, what kind of digital DNA are you leaving out there? Because there is no one that's going to do business with you without checking you out on social media. No one is going to go on any date with you, even if they lie to you and say, no, I didn't check, they're lying, without checking you out on social media. No one is going to do business, employ you, or any of that stuff without checking you on social media. That is just the reality of our world today. So why not be intentional about telling the world who you are, telling your own story, so that when people actually get to land on your profile, they go like, wow. Instead of, So be intentional about your personal brand. Your personal brand will help you stand out from the rest. So many of us, we can share gossip online. We check out who is dating who divorced who, which celebrity said what, but we are not focusing on our own personal brand. It is important. How do you build a personal brand? Find something you're passionate about and start, doing all the talking online around that topic. There are many people in the room, maybe you're passionate about climate change, but what you're studying is really not in relation to climate change. It's okay to start sharing stories like that out there. When I was writing about the impact of technologies in the world of work, I didn't know who was paying attention to that. I didn't know who was following me. I didn't know who this is going to elevate me to where it elevated me. I didn't know any of that. I didn't even know I was building a personal brand. I just thought I was talking. So, again, it is important for you to start sharing and adding value to the people within your online community. That is you living your DNA online. And it better be a good one. It better be a good one. Because if it is not, you can find yourself in a very good opportunity or being offered a good opportunity and only for it to be withdrawn because of what was discovered through your digital DNA. We all have it. Every one of us sitting here, we have a digital DNA. But is this something you can be proud of? Are you putting out there stuff you can be proud of? If you're posting stuff and your heart feels like, no, don't do it. If you know you cannot stand and defend this in public, don't do it. Because so many of us are so bold behind the keyboard, we don't realize the power, what you're putting out there, the implication it has, not just in the world around you, but on your own life. Things you posted 5 years ago, even if you delete it, when there is need for it, they will find it. So your personal brand is important, and to every one of you listening, and even those that are online, take it seriously as a young person and put something out there that is going to elevate you as a person, not something that will have the chance of ruining opportunities for you. Start building that and network. Networking is key. Who you know, matters. And how do you build these relationships? By being intentional about your personal brand. By being intentional about how you show up in the world. Share things that you're passionate about. Each and every one of us sitting in this room, we have something we're passionate about. Beside being the VC and you're doing a great job, you could even start, just sharing tips on DJing without necessarily going full-time into it. People already will know you. So it is important that we start being very intentional about this and network. Start building your networks now because there is a time. There's a quote that says, the best time to fix the roof is when the sun is shining. And for everyone sitting here, many of us are still in college, in the university. The best time for you to build a personal brand is now. The best time for you to build those networks is now. You may not see the value of it now, but 3, 4, 5 years from now, you're going to see the value of these relationships you've built and the value of the personal brand you have been building. When an organization checks you online and they see, oh my God, this is such a valuable person, whatever they're sharing online, people are paying attention. Which organization would not want to work with someone like that? I have been recommended so many times for different events, speaking, but when they check me out, I better match whatever they told them, right? So that is the power of it. That is the power of it. So start building something. Are you passionate about food? You can build your personal brand around that. Now, because a lot of people get confused when I talk about this, they're like, but what I'm studying is not really in line with what I'm passionate about. How do I build a personal brand? I listened to an interview of the CEO of, I think it's Accenture. Maybe I'm mistaken, but she said something. She said, whenever they're about to employ someone, throughout the recruitment process, there's one question they ask. They will ask this candidate, what have you learned in the last 6 months? It doesn't matter to them what they learned. They could have learned a new recipe. They could have learned to play soccer. They could have learned to DJ like you. You have that passion. It could be anything. They could have, But if this person responds and says, Not really. I haven't learned anything in the last 6 months. No matter how good they were on paper, they will not employ that person. It's the key role within the organization, and they have close to, I don't know, 100,000 employees around the world. But he said that is it applies in every organization. You know, it's a global conglomerate. It applies. The key thing, if this person had not learned anything in the past 6 months, do not bring them into our organization. Why? It shows this is a person who is a wheelbarrow, basically. They don't take initiative. They don't plan to do anything. So one of the key things for you when you're building your personal brand is that it's going to force you to learn. Because I'm building my personal brand around digital transformation, it forces me to learn all the trends around digital transformation and technology. If you are building a personal brand around food, it's going to force you to learn what is happening within the food industry and what are the new trends that are coming up. If you're building a personal brand around fashion, it's going to force you to learn things around fashion industry. If you are building a personal brand around climate change, it's going to force you to learn things around climate change that had it been you are not working on that, you will never be able to learn. And it's going to teach you things that no university will ever teach you, just by you building a personal brand. So think about it as you're intentional online. All of us sitting here, we have a spot in the digital space. But ask yourself, what type of DNA, what type of digital DNA are you living out there? Because it is important. Wow. Thank you, Vesi.
Wow. Let's give Nicky Verd a warm round of an applause. Thank you so much. I mean, we can talk about these important issues for the whole day, the whole week, because they're extremely important. I was making notes, for myself, and some of the issues, that really stood out for me. Everything stood out, but, when you say we must understand the basics, how is technology affecting your industry or profession? I think today you can't sit and say, I don't care, because then... you're as good as gone, The free course on prompting, I'm going to dig and see how I can also educate myself, learn something. I read somewhere where they say people who get jobs will be those that can use this technology to prompt, to tell the technology to do what you want to do. It's like you can have a sports car. If you don't know how to drive it, you will never enjoy it. You'll say this is a bad car, I guess. Learn about how to interact with technology, how to partner with AI. And I guess those that don't want to learn are the ones that would say this is bad. And I always say that technology is like fire. You can use it, to cook and to advance us as human beings, or it could hurt us, So we need to learn how to use this. I mean, ChatGPT, there are those who say, stop this nonsense. And we are part of the group that says, no, we have to embrace it, learn to work with it, and elevate ourselves. You talked about the important point that human potential is different from AI potential. So AI basically can complement us. It's not something that would, that we should see as competition. You asked the question, how can one be part of the disruption? It's what we should ask ourselves. Yes, there is disruption out there. How can we be part of that disruption? And you also talked about the mindset is where the revolution begins, And you say it begins with you. Don't wait for the government. How many of us are waiting for the government? Everything we say, no, the government has not provided, but without standing out there and doing something for ourselves. The last part, really, I was sitting, that this is something that, it's something that maybe one day we should make a plan that we can address a bigger audience, especially for our student body, about personal branding. You said people are hiding behind the keyboard. How many of us have experienced this? People insult behind the keyboard, thinking that they will not be caught. And it's easy to catch somebody. TikTok, I don't even want to go there. I'm a South African as it gets, but on TikTok, I'm called a foreigner. There's nothing wrong being a foreigner, but I'm South African as it gets. And I'm like, the people who think they can sit behind TikTok and insult, they will get away with it. It's easy to get these people. 5 years down the line, one can't hide behind the fact that the one was young and dumb, most probably. You talk about the future of CVs, which is going to change. This is just amazing. I know of people who were approached and hired on social media. Serious jobs, And the question that one should ask is that my digital DNA, as you put it, is it the one that sells me well out there? Or is it the one that portrays me as an empty person? Because sometimes you see people do what they do. I don't know, I'm old school perhaps. And I was curious how you find my digital DNA, my online presence. Because you get people say, oh, now I'm having a chewing gum. Oh, now I'm going to drink a Kool-Aid. You know, and you're like, well, do we really want to know this nonsense? But anyway, that is their digital DNA, you know. And personal branding, I thought you could even take it one step backward. I mean, the way I'm dressed today to be with you is part of my personal branding. The way I talk to you, whether I will benefit anything or not, is part of my branding. People think it's cool to go out and be disrespectful. Hey, dude, you're addressing the vice chancellor. Already, it's personal. You know, I associate your brand as the one that is not fit for something. I mean, I personally recommended people for jobs even when I was just a professor. I remember this fellow I met at a conference. He asked me a question. The way he talked to me, I never forgot about him. You know, he reminded me of myself when I was his age at that stage of my career. And I recommended him for jobs and a few others because of how one engaged. People think it's cool to come rude and abrasive, looking at, hey, dude, you know, that type of thing. But anyway, so really is important, and networking. Some of the things that, you know, now, for our students, your future collaborators, partners, and so on could be sitting next to you. It's how you engage with them. And thanks for sharing all this important information. There's a lot more that I know you can share. We talked previously. And my wish is that down the line we can organize that you engage a bigger audience, especially you know, our student body.